Welcome back to the stage, everybody. We hope you're enjoying a relaxing lunch. Now, there are 11 different agencies, 12 departments that provide funding through the SBIR program, and 6 of those also fund through STTR. Each agency has a particular focus and mission. Typically, it is found in their name, like the Department of Energy or National Science Foundation. But like many things in life, it's the nuance that can do you in. For example, did you know that the USDA also funds forestry innovations and ideas to support rural development and growth? How about the fact that the Department of Transportation also funds ideas dealing with pipeline infrastructure? Once you start diving into the differences between agencies and how they run their own versions of the SBIR and STTR programs, there is a veritable treasure trove of information out there. And don't just take our word for it. Let's hear straight from several agencies as they provide rapid-fire pitches on their behalf, how they approach innovation, and some key details applicants should be aware of. You're about to hear from several agencies, back to back, as each will have 5 minutes to shed some light on their programs. We're going to hear from DOE, NIH, DHS, NAVSEA, NOAA, EPA, USDA, and Blue Cyber, in that order, providing technology behaves with us. I'm now going to turn it over to our first agency presenter, Eileen Chant, with the Department of Energy, SBIR, and STTR programs. Eileen, feel free to start.
I assume you can see my screen and hear my voice. I'm going to just dive right into the specifics of the DOE, SBIR, STTR programs. I am the Outreach Program Manager at the DOE SBIR programs. Just like all other agencies, we provide the very early stage, non-dilutive R&D fund. So we are operating at a time where much of the private sector is not interested. It's when you have a good idea and you want to prove feasibility of a technology to solve a certain type of problem. It's not a loan. Our grant is money that you don't have to pay back. We don't take a piece of your company, and we don't take your intellectual property. DOE is the third largest agency. Last year, our grants were at $348 million. And we have, being one of the larger agencies, we have both an SBIR and an STTR program. You should get to know the differences between those two programs because there are some differences. And you want to understand that before you decide which program is right for you. Some of the agencies issue grants, some of the agencies issue contracts, and we are a granting agency. So you're not going to be delivering a prototype to DOE. You are not going to be selling your technology to DOE. We are giving you money. You have a good idea. It was presumably an idea that advances the DOE mission. And we fund technology development that advances our mission. But it is your idea and your execution. I mean, there's accountability. You do have to issue a final report. But this is not a project that we necessarily would micromanage. It is for you to develop your technology with the ultimate goal of taking it to the commercial private marketplace. One thing specific about DOE is the letter of intent is required 6 weeks after the topics come out. We have a topics document open right now. It came out on November 7th. The funding opportunity announcement came out on Monday. And you do have to submit a letter of intent January 3rd in order to submit with this particular funding cycle. So just please be aware of that deadline. Our topics are very focused because we issue topics that align with the DOE mission. We do have kind of what I would call a threefold mission. We issue topics in clean energy, and everyone was probably pretty aware that DOE would issue topics in that area. Maybe some of you saw the press release yesterday in which one of the DOE funded national labs achieved fusion energy. So in addition to fusion energy, which is obviously a really advanced technology, deep tech technology, we issue topics in many other areas. Don't be intimidated by that. We have solar, we have wind, we have better use of fossil fuels, we have carbon capture, many topics in the clean energy area. But did you also know that DOE's mission includes development and leadership in basic energy and engineering science technology? So that includes things like understanding better how materials work, understanding how nuclear particles behave. We have a biological environmental research office that has topics in studying the atmosphere, studying the oceans, and even they study how plants behave.
Have them baked into the screen.
There's a little bit of there's another voice, Del, that's you. Okay, I think it stopped. And our BER office also studies the microbiome. So we have a huge quantity of topics. There's a lot of instrumentation. There's a lot of software. There's better microscopes. There's cybersecurity. And finally, our third part of our mission is enhancement of nuclear security, and that's topics in the area of nuclear detonation, a detection of movement of nuclear materials, and environmental mitigation of the nuclear weapons waste sites in the country. Our phase 1 is the first part. It's the entry point into our program. We have one open now. The phase 1 award is $200,000 or $250,000 as a maximum. It's a feasibility proof of concept study. You carry out your study from anywhere from 6 to 12 months of duration, and we issue about 400 awards per year. The success rate, we get about 2,000 applications a year for phase 1, and the success rate is about approximately 20%. If your phase 1 project is successful, you would move on to phase 2, which is a larger chunk of money. It's 1.1 or 1.6 million as a maximum. You carry out your phase 2 project over 2 years duration. It is research and development and deployment. It is demonstrating your technology, developing your prototype, and also pivoting your technology towards the commercial marketplace. If you get to the point where you are preparing your phase 2 application, note that there is a 40% success rate at the phase 2 application cycle, which is a pretty good success rate for 1 million, a grant in excess of 1 million. These are the 13 offices that issue topics, the green being the offices that issue topics for the release that's out now. Again, the letter of intent is due January 3rd. The full application is due February 23rd. If you haven't looked, go to our funding opportunities page, open our topics document, look through carefully and see if there's something in there for you, something you can be responsive to. We have a very surprisingly wide breadth of topics. Here's a slide that the purpose of this slide is to demonstrate that we have a very wide variety of topics, and you don't know what's in there and whether there's something in there for you unless you look, you open the document, you do your keyword searches on the technology that you're developing. Very important is evaluating whether you're a good fit with DOE, SBIR, STTR, or you want to go look for funding elsewhere, other agencies, other programs, etc. So you do have to be, ultimately, you have to be responsive to the topic and the subtopic. You really have to be addressing what is being requested in the topic and the subtopic pair for which you apply. In addition to that, your idea must be novel. It can't be work that's already been done. It must be research and development, and it must be a feasibility study. And so you have to develop a solid work plan that will also link back to your feasibility objectives. Very importantly is also the team. You have to have the right team to carry out the project. You don't want to be a business major doing like a fusion energy project that, that have the business major be like the PI of the fusion energy project. So make sure you have the right team with the right expertise. The applications are reviewed according to the criteria that are shown here on the left side of the slide by peer reviews, people in industry, academia, national labs, not DOE employees, and those applications receive a technical review and on their meritorious, whether they're meritorious, and they come back to the program managers, they're ranked, and the most meritorious applications are the ones that receive awards. Okay, I just want to mention our free to you Phase 0 application assistance program. If you've never submitted to DOE, SBIR, STTR before, you are eligible for this program. You will receive a coach, one-on-one coaching with someone who will help you through the application process. We have, we're very friendly, we don't bite. You can reach out to us with an email, and you can call us. On our homepage, you can find our phone numbers. You should get on our mailing list. We do have a number, we have up to 9 webinars throughout the application cycle in which you get to learn about the process and ask questions. The program has become more focused on commercialization success in recent years, and we have a number of resources to help you with that particular part of commercialization. We have partnering. We are setting up a partnering resources website, which will allow you to connect with those kinds of persons that you're looking for to help you be more successful in developing your technology and commercializing your technology. We offer in Phase 1 $6,500 above your maximum award amount to help prepare your Phase 2 commercialization plan. If you become a Phase 2 awardee, you get $50,000 in services to develop your pitch deck, do your product pricing study, market research study, and much more. Intellectual property support. And finally, if you're a Phase 1 awardee, you can apply to the be in a rapid shortened Energy I-Corps program, in which part of the program is to interview 30 prospective customers on what they're looking for. So a very valuable program. Can you imagine how much you're going to learn about your product marketplace by interviewing 30 potential customers? Okay, that's it. Hopefully I didn't go over time. Please reach out with questions. I have my phone number and my email. Thank you very much for listening.
Next up, we have Dr. Meena Rajagopal with the National Center for Advancing Translational Sciences within NIH. Dr. Meena, please take it away.
Program within the Office of Strategic Alliances at the National Center for Advancing Translational Sciences. And it's short for NCATS at NIH, right? And we are one of the 27 institutes at the NIH, and our mission is to promote and accelerate programs that would ultimately result in the development of more treatment options made available to all patients more rapidly. So the small business program within NCATS is very much aligned with our NCATS mission, and we promote tools and technologies that not just identifies but also mitigates the bottlenecks in this translational science pipeline that again would result or accelerate this process of basic science discoveries, making it to the market or the clinic, and the conversion into health solutions. Towards this, we support a number of programs at NCATS, a few of which are listed on the slide. I'm just going to a few of which is listed in the slide here, including the Clinical Translational Science Awards program, wherein a number of hubs across the United States participate, again, to accelerate this translational process. I do want to say that NCATS is a little different from the other institutes of the NIH, and what I mean by that is we are not focused towards a particular disease, like the NCI, or a body part like the NHLBI. NCATS is disease agnostic. So again, we promote tools and technologies that have a broader clinical implication across a wide variety of diseases. That said, we do have a high interest in rare diseases, and that's why we have the Rare Disease Clinical Research Network to promote research in this particular area. So in interest of time, I'm going to go over the SBIR program at NCATS and the NIH. We are one of the largest, early stage funding available for small business entrepreneurs, and our budget is about $1.2 billion that is shared among the 24 institutes participating in this program within the NIH. A majority of the application comes through the omnibus solicitation, and the omnibus solicitation has 3 deadlines, which are pretty standard. It's January 5th, April 5th, and September 5th, and if there is a holiday around one of these dates, the due date gets moved to the next business day. But again, this omnibus solicitation is an investigator-initiated funding mechanism. However, within NCATS, we have topics of high interest that would pretty much fall broadly under these 3 buckets, which is the preclinical drug discovery and development, biomedical, clinical, and health research informatics, clinical dissemination, and implementation research. So those are some of the topics that we are interested in, and there are several subtopics included in each one of those main headings. I would encourage you to please go to our website and read about it, and if you have any questions, please reach out to me. And I'll be more than happy to have a conversation with you and let you know if your proposal is aligned with our NCATS mission, and at the very least, I can connect you with my colleagues at the other institutes whom I think would be more interested in your proposal. But just to touch upon a little bit of resources that we have at NCATS, not just to our small business entrepreneurs, but also to academics, we have the Bridges and the Trends program, and the idea is being able to help the academics and innovators to cross that valley of death, because say for some reason, the PI might be stuck in a spot where he doesn't have, either he or she doesn't have the expertise to carry out the experiment, or the experiment is not typically covered by the NIH funding mechanism. So that's when our team at the Division of Preclinical Innovation, they have a number of expertise to offer. Again, this does not provide the funds, but these are in-kind services that you can leverage, and a few of which are listed in this slide here, like medicinal chemistry optimization, IP studies, IND enabling studies, PKPD studies, to name a few. I do want to touch quickly upon the Bridges program. Again, this is eligible, it's applicable to all academics and eligible small business companies. The only requirement is that you enter into the program, the Bridges program, after having a clinical candidate identified. Say, for instance, we had a case where an investigator had cobbled up about $3.5 million with an R01 and STTR award combined, and she had identified a new molecular entity for treatment for a rare disease, and she had one of these meetings with the FDA. And during the pre-IND meetings, she was informed that she had to do tox studies for 2 different species. And that's when she applied to the Bridges program, and we did the gap analysis, and we validated her requirements, so we provided her the services. So she could complete her tox studies and eventually file an IND, and was able to raise about $3.5 million $50 million in Series A funding. A very similar program that NCAS has is called the Trends program. Again, within the Trends, it's very similar to the Bridges program. But then you don't have to have a clinical candidate identified. You can enter the program at any stage of the clinical, preclinical development. But the only requirement is that the investigator has to be working in an FDA designated orphan disease, or the World Health Organization defined rare or neglected diseases. But again, we can help the entrepreneurs and the academics to cross that valley of death, and for you to be in a place where you can successfully either commercialize your product or file an IND. With that, I want to say that I hope to talk to some of you in the near future. So please reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to discuss some funding mechanisms and other resources that not just the NIH but also the NCATS has to offer. Thanks. Thank you, Del.
Thanks, Dr. Meena. Now, Bob Renner from DHS will talk about their SBIR program. Bob, the floor is yours.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having me. A little bit about DHS, S&T. As you may know, the Department of Homeland Security was formed as a direct result of the 9/11 terrorist attacks to ensure that the United States would be better prepared to identify, prevent, and if needed, respond to any future threats against the people and critical infrastructure of our nation. So to get us started, I am going to need to go that one. I'm going to talk a little bit about, Googling a day in the life of DHS, of a DHS employee, to see where we operate daily and how SBIR could play a part in any of our 8 operational components, to include FEMA, Customs and Border Protection Agency, U.S. Coast Guard, Transportation Security Administration, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Cybersecurity Infrastructure, our Secret Service. And we do tend to put a fair amount of initial research and development for our first responders, to include your local fire departments and police departments. So real quick, what I want you to know, first, we award contracts. We are a contracting agency. Our operational components write our topics, seeking innovative ideas that meet specific homeland security and research and development and technology needs. Our phase 1s, we typically award between 1 and 4 awards to our topics for each topic. Our awards are generally $150,000 for 5 months. 5 months is a much different number from most of our other participating agencies, so do note that. We also allow small businesses to request TABA. That request on phase 1s may be up to $6,500, and that's on top of the $150K. All of our phase 1s are then invited to submit a phase 2 proposal at the end of the phase 1. The objective of the phase 2 is to continue that research and development and get to a prototype. Our award structure is $1 million for 2 years. We typically get those awarded in March, and we award between 1 and 2 per topic on that. And TABA is also allowable up to $50K, but that is inclusive in the $1 million. So we'll go to the next slide. Our typical solicitation timeline is as follows, and right now we are at the very last day of our pre-solicitation. Our full and open solicitation goes out tomorrow. But we typically start that in November. December is when the full goes out. Proposals need to be in by January 17th. At 1 o'clock, and I urge you to not wait to the last minute if you are submitting proposals. These are our topics that we have out there in pre-solicitation right now. There will be a few updates within the topics, but these topics, all 7, will be out there for you to submit proposals to. Some other opportunities here within DHS. We do offer I-Corps, which is managed by National Science Foundation. We do send funding for a limited number of our SBIR participants, and that is an application process. We also offer our Commercialization Assistance Marketplace program. This is offered to all phase 2 participants. It helps assess the needs of the companies to move forward to successful commercialization. It does provide some market research and strategic planning and other support services. We have our Commercialization Readiness Pilot Program. This is an internal pool. This is not something that can be applied for. We also have our other agency technology solutions where we award phase 2 contracts to projects that started in other agencies. We like to leverage work done by our the other agencies that have much larger budgets, because DHS has a $20 million budget. Moving to our next slide, I urge you to take the opportunity to read through watch our webinar series to help you understand the inner workings of DHS's SBIR. We also hosted a deconstructing webinar yesterday, so please look for that to be coming in the next couple of weeks to be published to the site. Here's some other resources. The success stories are something that we're proud to get out there to learn about how other small businesses got through DHS's SBIR program. For the last slide, I do urge you to sign up for our listserv. We promise not to inundate your email, but we do try to get that information, any information that we're looking to get done out there to you guys. And I have one opening left in our booth today for a meeting with me, so I know that was very fast. I'm trying to make up a little time for you. Thank you so much.
Drew, you are ready to go.
Okay. Del, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, everyone. My name is Drew McDougall. I'm the NAVC SBIR STTR Program Outreach Coordinator. I support Jason Schretfer, the NAVC Program Manager for SBIR STTR. Just moving through our slides, some quick information on the several program goals that we've got. Of course, stimulating technical innovation and increasing private sector commercialization for federal R&D. STTR program goals, of course, creating vehicles for moving ideas from research institutions to markets, bridging the funding gap. Of course, all these play into how are we setting up the topics under the SBIR and STTR. Of course, all of our mission priorities and the plan for success roll out of the National Defense Strategy and the NAVC campaign plan. I apologize, I need to get an updated picture for the 2022 National Defense Strategy, but the topics and the goals are still the same. Of course, reforming the department for greater performance and affordability, building into that more lethal force, and then, of course, under the campaign plan, delivering combat power, transforming digital capability, and building a team to compete and win. And with our topics under NAVC, they all fill those three boxes there at the bottom of the slide. Of course, they're all endorsed, looking for participation and development of each topic from the specific program offices, planned with a specific topic timeline for acquisition, how they play with size, weight, power, and cost savings, and of course, the form, fit, and function requirements. And then, of course, being funded under the POM for eventually phase 3 for procurement.
Hey, Drew, real quick, we lost your slides. Can you make sure to send them after to me, and we'll just get them out to the attendees? Okay,
we'll do. Next up, we just have some information on the 3 phases of the program. Of course, for phase 1, we've got $240K contract with $140K for the base option at 6 months, and then $100K option for additional 6 months. $1.8 million contract in phase 2 with a $600,000 base at 12 months, and then 2 additional $600,000 options for the additional 12-month periods. For the upcoming 23.1A release, the schedule is slipped for this year. The pre-release period for the topics is now the 11th of January, 2023. The official opening period hits on February 8th, and then the closing on March 8th. just for everyone's information, posted on NavySBIR.com. The topics are listed. There's a preview of the 23.1 topics, so you can go to NavySBIR.com, take a look at the topics that are there right now. And then once the pre-release hits in January, you can have that one-on-one discussions of contacting the technical points of contact for each of the topics. NAVSEA command structure. You've got the program offices for the PEOs listed under NAVSEA with the directorates. Our office, NAVSEA SBIR, STTR, falls under the Naval Systems Engineering and Logistics CO5 branch. The NAVSEA SBIR leadership, of course, Jason Trepfer, program manager, and then we've got the 6 technology managers for the PEOs, Russell Knowles under carriers, Douglas Marker under integrated warfare systems, Jennifer Greenwood under USC, Emily Novak under team ships, Roberto Sanchez, team subs, and the headquarter and directorate area, Howard Franklin. And then just to finish up, some keys to writing winning proposals. I think hopefully people have heard this a number of times today, but these are all important for when you're putting your proposals together for the topics. And of course, most important, read and follow the announcement instructions. Don't want to get your hard work kicked out if you go over page limit or don't follow the font. It seems simple, but definitely you want to make that. You want to read the instructions, make sure you're answering what the agencies are looking for. And Del, that will wrap up my presentation, and I send it back to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Drew. Next, we have April Richards with EPA. April, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
I'm on stage. Excellent. And is someone sharing my slides?
I can, April. I will do it in just one second if you want to get started.
Let's see. That would be awesome. Okay. Yes, let me keep it brief. Basically what everybody else said. EPA is... I'm April Richards with EPA's SBIR program, and if you just go to the next slide, we are mission oriented. So EPA has a very, or maybe I go to the next slide. Yep, there we go. The mission is to protect human health and the environment. Very concise and extremely important mission in my mind. So we're looking to use the SBIR program to seed technology innovations to meet the agency's mission. And I always joke, to save the planet, we have about $5 million per year. We are the smallest of the SBIR agencies. So what I really want to talk to you today about is topics, because I think if you have a technology that fits one of our topics, then we try to make it that you have a reasonable chance of getting funded, just like if you apply to a larger agency. So I will spend a little time on that. But like the other small agencies, just one funding cycle per year, phased approach, and we do award everything as contracts. So again, applying to us, we have fairly specific topics. We really want you to be responsive. We just don't have enough money. We don't want to send declinations. So we'd really just like to make sure proposals are responsive to the topics that we identify every year. And then that said, once we're funded, I do try to, we try to provide a lot of support for companies. We connect them with people in EPA that have interest and expertise in their topic area. We provide commercialization support. And we do a lot of communications. We're trying to up our presence on social media, and we do newsletters and just like trying to get the word out about your successful projects. And of course, we're saving the planet. So that is always good. So one solicitation per year, that is scheduled for June. As someone else mentioned, they had a listserv. Like really the best way to get news for us is just to sign up for that listserv. As soon as the topics are released, as soon as we know the dates, we'll send it out on that listserv. So that is the best way if you have any interest. So let me just hit on these topics, which my screen is a little split, unfortunately, but our topic areas align with the EPA program offices. So we care about clean and safe water, air quality and climate. We have some Homeland Security topics, sustainable materials, safer chemicals, and risk management. So those are our broad topic areas. And then every year, we kind of drill down. I feel like it's getting worse. I hope people can see the slides, but we drill down and put some fairly specific topics under those broad topic areas, and that's what we're looking for proposals in. So we really need you to be responsive to those areas. We have worked really hard to improve our timelines. We do concurrent review. We care about commercialization even in phase 1 because we really are trying to have the biggest impact we can with our modest budget. So we do a commercial review. At the same time, we look at technical and relevancy review. And we're getting awards made from the day the solicitation closes to the award start date at about 120 days. So we really think that's valuable to get money to small businesses quickly. And our favorite success story is one of these Ecovative. They are our mushroom materials. They make everything with mushrooms. They've made like a styrofoam replacement. They make building materials, they make packaging, and they made this they're moving into things like fabrics. They've made this very cool jacket and also bio-based foods. So there is nothing that they cannot make with mushrooms. A very good example of a disruptive technology that has lots of environmental benefits. All right, that's my contact information. Hopefully richards.april@epa.gov. And I know, I'm sorry, I have a cold and I'm feeling worse. So if you need to meet with me, please reach out. I'm happy to set up another time. I know I have a bunch this afternoon and I will do those, but if there's not availability, I'm always happy to meet with you another time. And that's it for me.
Thanks, April. Next, we have Melinda Coffman with USDA, who will talk about their SBIR and STTR programs, as USDA is now also an STTR agency. You should find out more about that shortly from Melinda. Melinda, please go ahead if you're ready.
Thank you very much. Are my slides showing up?
Yes, they are, Melinda.
Okay, great. I'm very happy to be here. I'm Melinda Coffman. I'm the SBIR, STTR, now STTR, program manager for USDA. And I'm just going to take a few minutes to tell you a little bit about our program. So the U.S. Department of Agriculture, I'm sure everybody has some idea of what we do. But really, if you step back and think about it just a little bit, we are involved with the basic needs of the United States and the world, actually, which is food, clothing, and shelter. We are also involved with renewable energy and renewable energy products, and we're very involved with the environment, soil, air, and water. We have 10 topic areas, and all of our topic areas are very broad, and that's purposeful. It's broad for a reason, because we want to be able to cast a wide net in order that we can capture all the innovations out there, because we can't anticipate them. So as you can see here, we go from forestry to a couple of plant production and protection topic areas, animal production, again, conservation of natural resources, food science, biofuels, aquaculture. And then we have rural and community development and small and mid-sized farms, 8.6 and 8.12. Those are a little different. They're in a different color to remind me to tell you that these programs are different and that they're funded a little, their funding is a little less. It's $125,000 a year for phase 1. But one of the reasons for that is because you can use off-the-shelf technology in these two areas, 8.6 and 8.12. The other 8 areas, you have to have innovation, a completely new innovation. I know that's redundant, but it's a way to emphasize it. So we have 3 phases. We do not fund phase 3. Phase 1 is just to establish the technical merit and the feasibility. It's proof of concept, and talk a little bit about the commercial potential. Phase 2 is where you really start, you continue with your research and development, but you really start to ramp up the commercialization. And then phase 3, where you find alternate sources of funding, is when you really are mainly into the commercialization piece. We have an annual budget of around $34 million. So for phase 1, it goes from $125,000 to $175,000. And again, the 125,000 is for topic areas 8.6 and 8.12 because you can use off-the-shelf technology for those. The other are funded at 175,000, and those require innovations. SBIR phase 1 runs 8 months. STTR runs 12 months. It's very easy to get a no-cost extension, so that's not a problem. If you don't even really need approval, you just need to notify us. And phase 2, all 10 topic areas are funded at 600,000, and they run 24 months. Some of the features are that the ideas are investigator initiated, and then awards are based on, of course, scientific and technical merit. That's really important, and just as important is the commercial potential of the innovation, which becomes more equal in phase 2. In phase 1, you're going to be focusing on the scientific and technical merit, and of course, we look at the PI and the company qualifications in addition. Subcontracting to universities and federal labs is encouraged in SBIR, is required for STTR, and we also offer technical and business assistance. Just to give you some idea, for phase 1, we usually have a 15% success rate, so you can see the numbers there from FY21 and FY22. For phase 2, we are running between 45 and 50% success rate. There's no direct to phase 2. You can only, after having, or if you're on your way to successfully completing a phase 1, then you can apply for phase 2. TABA for phase 1 is $6,500, and that is used to develop a commercialization plan for your phase 2 application. And then in phase 2, the TABA is $50,000, and that is, again, where you start to really ramp up the commercialization of your innovation. And TABA can pay, this is just a small example of what TABA can pay for. It can pay for a lot of different things around commercialization, but this is just a list of common things. These are our typical program deadlines. We can't promise this every year. Sometimes we're off. For various reasons, but it's usually, the solicitation is usually released in July, and then the deadline is in October, and your start date is in July of the following year. So those who applied for FY23 begin in July and are awarded will begin in July of 23. Phase 2, again, only open to phase 1 awardees. Solicitation is usually released in December, and the deadline is in March. You get reviews and award notifications April through June, and start date is September. And a little bit of advice for applications, please provide in your phase 1 application a brief vision of what the market opportunity is as you see it. What is your dream? What is your vision? Let the panel know that. And then sell the importance of your project in alignment with USDA priorities, which are listed in the RFA, and provide a detailed experimental plan that's very important in your project narrative that the reviewers can understand. These are all grants. We don't do any contracting, and it's a peer review process. So provide that detailed experimental plan. And then provide a little insight into the commercial potential, and then show connectivity with communities by having letters of support from end users. Oh, most importantly, I can't believe I skipped that, read the RFA. It has almost all the answers that you will need. Okay, so I'm just going to skip here because I know I'm taking a lot of time. These are some of our recent success stories. And then, sorry, I'm having a little trouble with it. Okay, we have a new brochure. I hope you will go to our website and look at our new brochure. We're very proud of it. We have a Spanish version of it too. And the USDA asked that we read this because we read the first bullet of this because we take it very seriously. In accordance with the federal civil rights law and the U.S. Department of Agriculture's civil rights regulations and policies, the USDA, its agencies, offices, and employees and institutions participating in or administering USDA programs are prohibited from discriminating based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, gender identity, or sexual orientation, disability, age, marital status, family parental status, income derived from a public assistance program, political beliefs, or reprisal or retaliation for prior civil rights activity or any program or activity conducted or funded by USDA. Remedies and compliant filing deadlines vary by program or incident. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Melinda. Now, our final presenter will be Kelley Kiernan, who will briefly speak on Blue Cyber, a small business-focused cybersecurity effort. Kelley, if you're ready.
For letting me join you today. Let me get this slides going. There we go, I think, right? Let me know you can see my slides.
Yep.
So, right. So the Department of the Navy Chief Information Security Officer has a program called Blue Cyber, which is powered by Navy SBIR STTR, Bob Smith there. So what we're going to do is we're going to help with enterprise risk reduction. Whose enterprise? Yours and ours. This is an early partnership with the DIB, between the Navy and the DIB. Our goal is to make sure that no small business contractor or future contractor is sitting with any cybersecurity or information protection questions. I'm going to show you in a minute how we have daily, weekly, and monthly activities for you, and 40 presentations that are relevant to your cybersecurity journey. We had over 11,500 small businesses contacted in FY22, and I talk with over 120 small businesses each week. We know that the threat is real. We can see from the Defense Cybercrime Center that hacking and phishing are the ways that our adversaries are coming after our small businesses. And cyber firms, when they appear on SAM.gov, that they just got a research contract to help whomever, Department of the Navy, Department of the Army, Department of the Air Force, you now become a very interesting person to our adversaries. All of our events are on SBIR.gov, and we're talking about NIST SP 800-171. So if you're in the DoD, this requirement appears in your contract in the DFAR 7012. If you're not in the DoD, well, you're going to have to do something. And NIST SP 800-171 is not related to the DoD, but it was adopted by the DoD. It is the U.S. federal standard for protecting controlled unclassified information. And it is the only comprehensive standard that's out there. So this is coming your way, whether you have a DoD contract or not. So how is Blue Cyber going to help? We have daily open office hours. Every day, nearly every day, I'm available to meet with you, hear your story, and help you on your cybersecurity journey. Help you how? Help you by connecting you to the resources that are out there for you. There are a plethora of resources for you, sometimes in the form of subsidized services, sometimes in the form of information. For example, in Indiana, if you were keeping track of your PTAC, now called Apex Accelerator, you would know that they had partnered with the Indiana NIST Manufacturing Extension Program to provide 15 free hours of cybersecurity counseling. If you didn't know that, you would have learned it from me. Also, things like NSA has about $30,000 worth of services for you if you have a DoD contract. And CISA.gov, they have services for you if you don't have a DoD contract. So come on down to the Blue Cyber, either our office hours or every Tuesday, we have an Ask Me Anything cybersecurity. Every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern, there's been 70 in a row, and there'll be 70 more in a row. Again, this is a radical early partnership between the Navy and the DIB, and it's open to the public. Why? Because we'd like to work with you before you become a member of the DIB and before you become a SBIR STTR contractor. These are the kinds of things you'll find, the kind of meetings we have every Tuesday. Next Tuesday is a 6-hour boot camp where we're going to go through all of the requirements to do business with the Department of Defense when it comes to cybersecurity, which, remember, in the end is simply going to protect your intellectual property, which I'm sure you're as interested in protecting your intellectual property as we're interested in protecting our controlled unclassified information. So let's partner and work together. You'll also have the treat of an unclassified cyber threat briefing next Tuesday, 10 a.m. Eastern is the start. It goes 6 hours. So again, every month and on the 20th, next Tuesday, we're going to have our boot camp. We have one every month just for you. And we have a beautiful website created that has the 40 presentations on it and all of our events in yellow. But if you forget about that, all of our events are on SBIR.gov/events. Any questions? There's a QR code that'll take you to that beautiful website. There's my email. I'll put it in the chat here in a minute. And I can answer any questions if there's time for that. Thanks.
Thank you, Kelley, and thanks to all of our presenters during those rapid fire pitches. Hopefully each of you now has an idea of which agency might align with your vision of innovation and the research areas your idea falls into. Now, please enjoy the remainder of the break. Head over to the booths and talk with some of the organizations that might help you get there. We'll see you at around 1:10 for our next panel session.